my fellow lovers of dangerous women. Today we're diving headfirst into the ultimate red flag fantasy, the kind of woman that'll drive you absolutely insane while making you fall hard for her chaos. And let me tell you, our boy Asato, Oxby's just stepped into the hornet's nest of crazy hotness with his school's MILF nurse. I'm talking about a big mommy milkers type of woman who's as wild as she is fine, and she's about to drag him into a world of forbidden fun. We're not talking about your average, run-of-the-mill bad girl. This is a certified red flag with a smile so sweet it could melt your brain, but a mind so twisted that you know she's a walking disaster. And damn, tell me that doesn't make her irresistible. Why can't this ever happen to me? If you've ever fallen for a hot mess with "do not touch" written all over her, then stick around. In the opening scene, we meet Sato Sada of Class 1, an OCD-riddled perfectionist who's obsessed with righteousness and doing things just right to him. All these false fire alarms, doodles on walls, and silly pranks are nothing short of banes of his existence. Seriously, the dude's about 2 pranks away from filing a lawsuit. That's why he's dragging this earth-shattering crisis to his teacher. Sadly, the teacher's got bigger problems to deal with, like holding on to his fading hairline rather than playing detective for the school's lamest prank war. Honestly, this guy's comb-over is hanging on by a thread instead. He decides to stay seated, doing his best to catch type 2 diabetes instead of a culprit. Priorities right, and a teacher clearly thinks something is wrong with Sato's mind, like, why on earth would someone be so obsessed with trivial nuisances? Spoiler alert, it's probably because he lives alone, with no one to give him the emotional support he clearly desperately needs. A man can only spend so many nights solo before he starts seeing imaginary offenses everywhere, and then, just when you think things can't get weirder, the teacher hits him with this "why don't you be a man and check out the hot school nurse like everyone else is doing." Bruh. The school nurse has her own fan club apparently. She lives in the same apartment complex as Sato, and what man can resist hot singles in your area, am I right? Thus, Sato runs off immediately, determined to prove that he's indeed a real man for the job. Because apparently, nothing screams manhood like confronting a hot school nurse as he dashes off with newfound purpose. The 2 remaining teachers waste no time jumping into their favorite pastime, gossiping about the problematic student. And one of them points out how Sato's been sticking out in class lately, making mountains out of molehills by pointing out the smallest spelling mistakes. The type of guy who'd probably read "pen your grocery list" if you spelled tomato wrong. He's clearly cut from a different cloth, an entirely different breed. His kind, then, of course, the conversation takes a dark turn as the rotund teacher chimes in, suggesting that Sato's mental health might be unstable due to losing his parents suddenly. And meanwhile, Sato arrives at the infirmary, his heart pounding as he remembers that, even though he lives in the same apartment complex as the nurse, they've never spoken before. You'd think living a few doors down would give him the courage to at least say hi, but no, this man's been socially distancing since before it was cool. As he slowly approaches the entrance to the nurse's office, he spots 3 figures from a distance. Leading the charge is none other than Nemu, the new school nurse. And yep, you guessed it, damn. The nurse is hot and can't forget those hidden mountains. Of course, the nurse is always hot. And I mean, it's basically school manga law at this point behind her. 2 generic side characters are awkwardly trying to hit on her, giving it their best shot with the classic cute nurse lines. Bless their hearts, but they might as well be barking up a tree, though they'd probably have better luck with the vending machine elsewhere, and unsurprisingly, Nemu is completely uninterested in entertaining Isa, the emo boy, and his sidekick. Seriously, these guys could not be more invisible if they tried. Meanwhile, Sato could not give less of a damn about the whole commotion. He's only here because his insurance company refuses to pay for a legit psychiatrist. And the joys of healthcare when you can't afford a therapist. You go to the school nurse instead. With a smooth, almost effortless motion, Sato swoops in and rescues Nemu from the emo boy's grip, giving him a cold, silent death glare in the process. That don't even think about it. Kid look that could freeze fire. It's a power move that sends Isa packing, realizing he's just been outclassed in every possible way. Unfortunately, the nurse has no patience for teenage boys with raging hormones and sends them back to their mamas outside the room. Honestly, she's got better things to do than babysit a couple of hormone-driven delinquents. Blondie, however, isn't done. And he recognizes Sato as the lucky bastard who lives in the same apartment complex as the hot nurse. Because, of course, that's all he cares about. Blondie creeps up behind Sato, placing his filthy hand on Sato's left shoulder, demanding to know some juicy details about the nurse. Clearly, this guy has zero shame. He wants to know everything from her choice of underwear to whether she's seeing someone. But Sato, being the righteous man that he is, walks the same path as Umyashiru and condemns their perverted behavior. He calmly but firmly threatens to report them to their mamas for acting so inappropriately. So nothing like a little moral superiority to put these guys in their place. The bullies, who have never felt so powerless in a verbal argument, quickly turn to the only thing they know: violence. Like one of them delivers a swift kick to Sato's stomach, the impact forcing him to drop his textbook to the ground. As they leave, they remind Sato of one thing: snitches get stitches, because when words fail, fists and cheap threats become their best friends. After the encounter, Sato now lies on his futon, staring at the ceiling, feeling like nobody gives a damn about his sense of justice. I mean, how could they? It's not like righteousness is trending these days. Ever since he lost his parents, he's been living alone, and for whatever reason, maybe to escape the harshness of reality, he chose to enroll in a suburban school. And because nothing says dealing with trauma like isolating yourself in the middle of nowhere with no one else to rely, he has no choice but to handle everything like a man. And by like a man, I mean internalize his feelings and throw himself into his weird moral crusades. As he lies there, his thoughts inevitably drift to the hot MILF nurse at school. And yes, you heard that right, MILF status confirmed, and to top it off, she's currently living right under him, literally, right below his floor. The next day, Sato is determined to take matters into his own hands. If the teachers don't care about the endless pranks against school property, then he, as the self-proclaimed ally of justice, will personally handle it. And because when justice calls, Sato answers, even if no one else gives a damn, and wouldn't you know it? Finally, a break in the case, but wait, something's off. The lab coat, the supreme body curvature, and that air of authority. Hold up, that body screams grown woman. No high schooler is packing those curves. And then, the clincher, the legendary piece of armor on her face. So it has to beat her. The culprit is none other than the hot MILF nurse herself. Plot twist of the century, folks. Justice just got a whole lot more complicated. Asato, trying to make sense of the insanity, musters up the courage from who knows where and confronts his downstairs neighbor. Why are you here? And why are you triggering the fire alarm when there's no fire anywhere? Valid questions, my guy. But brace yourself for the answer of the century. Yu sensei turns to face him, and with a slow, deliberate motion, she removes her mask. Her eyes glint mischievously as she reveals the truth. That's exactly why I'm doing it, she says. The fact that it's forbidden is what excites me. The red flag aura comes spilling out in full force. Man, I should stay away. But honestly, I'm only getting more attracted. What can I say? Red flag hotties are my kryptonite. And this is exactly why she continues. The words that spill from her mouth are far too liberal for Asato's pea-sized brain to comprehend. Talk about a bold statement. Did she just drop the ultimate plot twist to drive her point home? The nurse takes a step closer, her voice dropping to a sultry whisper. It's exciting, because we're not supposed to do it. As she enters Asato's strike zone, holding her palm against his cheek, the tension thickens. Hold on, are we about to witness some serious romantic development? It almost seems like she's just one step away from stealing his first kiss. If a teacher and a student develop a romantic relationship, just imagine how thrilling that would be, she muses, leaning in even closer. Oh, someone's really not backing down here. With a glint in her eye.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Igu-sensei leans forward and asks if he's ever kissed anyone. Just before he can even formulate a response, she puts her body weight against him and presses him down onto the ground, saying she can give a French kiss, and just like that. It's like a scene straight out of a shoujo manga. Thankfully, we know that Japanese hallway floors are squeaky clean, or else Asato might end up face first on the slippery surface. Let's be real. It's practically a rite of passage for protagonists to slip and slide their way into chaos on these dangerously slick floors. And he's completely lost in the moment, her eyes sparkling with mischief. This is a rare opportunity, she purrs, her voice dripping with seduction. I've never given this to anyone else. You can totally brag about it to your friends. Just as she leans in, poised to give the boy a kiss he doesn't even know he's been craving, the air thickens with palpable tension. With a sultry tone, Igu sensei whispers, enticing him to act on those forbidden desires. The mere thought of getting caught of the consequences they might face only adds to the thrill. Because nothing says adrenaline rush quite like the risk of expulsion or serious trouble. As she places her finger teasingly on Asato's lips, he's left reeling, barely able to process what's unfolding. And seriously, fuck my life, why can't a red flag like this strut into my life? I'd trade a decade of therapy just for one taste of this kind of dangerously hot chaos with every second. The line between right and wrong blurs, and the heat radiating from Iguyu sensei makes it clear this isn't just a kiss, it's a life-altering moment waiting to happen. And the nurse inches closer and closer to Asato's face, her breath warm against his skin. His heart rate skyrockets, pounding uncontrollably in his chest. His eyes are wide open now. He cannot believe something this insane is happening to a nobody like him. Getting kissed by a hot, red flag-waving school nurse? Bro, this guy went from zero to hero in seconds, and just as her lips hover millimeters away from his, Asato's mind races. Me? In his shoes? I'd be thanking the universe right about now, by the way. I will give you guys a smooch too on the cheek if you like, and subscribe. And maybe we'll make it happen. Her kawaii smile is so beautiful, it's practically making his heart burst out of his chest. See, this is exactly why I always say red flag hotties are the best. It's not just the danger, it's the thrill. Baby, his heart's racing faster than ever, and it's definitely not because of anything else in this frame. Though that motherly charm she's got going on might have a little something to do with it. Just as Nemu's lips are about to touch his, Asato springs into action, pushing her away with his textbook taste, the power of knowledge, lady. Who knew that studying would be his secret weapon against this kind of danger casually. The nurse backs off, surprisingly respecting his decision to play the good guy. Honestly, props to him for resisting, but man, would I have folded faster than a cheap lawn chair. She glances at him with a sly smile, leaving the air thick with tension. It seems like this incident could come back to haunt him. But before Asato can decide if he'll report her, she leans in, her voice low and persuasive. Hear me out first. Want me out first. You are knack. She extends the boldest offer imaginable, casually inviting him to stay overnight with her. Bro, this is it, the holy grail of red flag moments, but, being the tragically dense male that he is, he declines her precious offer. And are you serious right now? That should have been me since then, though Asato can't help but keep a close eye on Sensei, observing her every move with a newfound curiosity. Every subtle expression she makes during work has him second-guessing the wild incident from days ago. Was it all a crazy misunderstanding? But no, there's no mistaking it. That mischievous smile she wears just screams that chaos is brewing, and it's only a matter of time before it all unfolds after school. Buckle up, folks, cause this is just the beginning of the madness. We arrive at a place so cursed, it looks like it's seen a murder or two, and we'll probably never find out about it. Seriously, I wouldn't even call this an apartment complex. There's nothing complex about it. It's just a basic two-story house with the design skills of a discount-haunted mansion, but this humble, spooky abode? Yeah, it's home to both Sensei and Asato. Talk about awkward, right? Asato knocked and Nemu opened the door, and Asato's eyes widened to the size of dinner plates. Was he seeing this right? He blinked once, twice. Nope, it was real. His mind could barely keep up with what he was witnessing. Oh my God. Since he's got the big mommy milkers. Damn, he tried to keep his composure, but his thoughts were already spiraling out of control. And how was he supposed to focus when she looked like she could knock someone out with just one bounce? His heart raced, and he struggled to even form a coherent thought, let alone a sentence. Behind the door, it wasn't. How does someone so hot live like this? It's like she's hiding her chaos behind that perfect body. No one would expect a beauty such as Nemu to behave like this at her home. And as you've guessed it, she's taking way too much joy from doing it because it's against society's expectations. Nemu approaches our boy from behind and holds him hostage between her two big, glorious milkers. Is this a nursing session or a hostage situation? No, Daddy? Because I'm not sure I mind either way. She wants to break free from that so-called common sense and enjoy true human nature, leaning in close to ask if our MC is different. He wants to be referred to as the ultra-giga Chad of justice. What a flex. They sit down face to face, and the atmosphere crackles with tension. Nemu, with a playful smirk, grabs Asato's arm and places his hand onto her left jiggly puff. Talk about an unexpected lesson in anatomy. Can you feel my heartbeat? She asks nonchalantly, her eyes sparkling with mischief. As he feels the jiggly puff against his will, our boy can hardly contain the burst of energy from his most trusted buddy, P.P.I.N.It. Is it just me? Or is it getting a bit hot in here? The MILF leans in closer, her voice dripping with flirtation, and expresses her gratitude towards Asato. You're practically my savior from the boredom I've experienced, she says, her breath brushing against him. And can someone call the cops, because this is getting dangerously spicy, she continues. You gave me excitement, something I've never really experienced before. Damn, who knew saving a hot nurse in distress could come with this kind of reward? The girl looks upward with puppy eyes, her gaze locking onto Asato's, as if she's casting a spell. With a soft, hypnotic voice, she murmurs, who can say no to such an innocent and cute expression? Seriously, someone get this girl an award for best dramatic performance. She leans in closer, her lips almost brushing against his ear as she pleads, please, save me. And just like that, she's flipped the script. Is he about to become a knight in shining armor? Or is this a setup for a whole new kind of adventure?
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Now that Asato has come back to his senses, he can't help but wonder what exactly Nemu meant when she said, save her. Flashback time, folks. Grab your popcorn. Coincidentally, Nemu also lost her parents. But back when they were alive, they spoiled her rotten, treating her like a princess in a fairy tale. The kind of spoiling that makes you question if you're in a rom-com or a slice of life drama. Even after their passing, the people around her continued to pamper her, no one ever scolded her or set boundaries, which made her think she could get away with anything. And you know what they say when you don't have rules. Mischief becomes your best friend. Thus, the thrill of misbehaving became a dopamine button for her, lighting up her world like fireworks on New Year's Eve. No wonder she's drawn to chaos. It's like a buffet of bad decisions, and she's ready to feast. This is when Asato realizes that he and Nemu are two peas in a pod, each walking on opposite paths but sharing the same deep-rooted pain. Both have lost their parents long ago, but their upbringings couldn't be more different. It's like comparing a cozy, warm blanket to a wild roller coaster ride. One's comforting, and the other's a thrill that might just throw you off the rails. Asato arrived in her life like a sun piercing through the darkness, a beacon of hope in her chaotic world, and he's the only one so far to reach out and pull her back from the edge of mischief, like a hero swooping in to save the day, or at least to keep her from doing anything too naughty. Gazing into her innocent face, a thought crystallizes in his mind. I can fix her. It really should have been me, he thought. Guys, remember what I said? Mom, I'm only in my 20s. Why are these two holding hands so lewdly, with their fingers intertwined in a way that practically screams we're about to make some questionable decisions? A new contract is formed whenever Nemu has the urge to misbehave. Asato will be the one to stop her. Talk about being in the hot seat. But seriously, can you blame him? It's like being the designated driver in a party bus full of red flags. To seal the deal, Nemu leans in and plants a sweet kiss on Asato's cheek. Ain't she beautiful? Some say that hot and crazy are a perfect mix. So, screw you all who doubt it. This lucky bastard just scored a major win. It should have been me. Now, the pair has a secret relationship that must remain under wraps. What a perfect start to an otherwise innocent and bittersweet romance story. Asato thinks to himself, these pranks she's been pulling are just minor hiccups. As long as she opens up about her issues, I can help her. Who knew being a self-appointed hero would feel so good in this clandestine connection? He alone possesses the power to assist her. This empowering feeling is almost addictive for someone like Asato, who has never felt needed before. There's no denying it, he has fallen head over heels for the hot MILF nurse in his school infirmary. And let's be real, it's definitely her joyful and innocent smile that's captured his heart, and not the other two assets that are equally distracting. Just before he leaves, Asato casually asks, is there any garbage to take out on my way out? Without thinking much of it. Oh boy, the real garbage is about to hit the fan. While distractedly scrolling through her phone, she suddenly realizes there's something important she's forgotten about. Plot twist incoming. What she left behind, her dignity or something even spicier. But it's too late. Asato is already at the bathroom door, about to swing it open. Oh boy, instead what appears before him is straight up hell on earth. A decapitated body lies amid a pile of trash, and Asato's heart races, not from excitement, but pure horror. The corpse's legs have been completely hacked off, its torso vanished without a trace. Blood spills across the bathroom tiles like a twisted modern art piece, and surrounding the body are various tools that would make any horror movie enthusiast blush: kitchen knives, a machete, rain boots, and more. No doubt, this is something Asato should never have seen. This is a sight no one else should ever witness. He recognizes the remains of the blonde jerk who kicked him in the stomach just a few days ago. Talk about karma, hitting hard and fast, but now, with this forbidden secret laid bare before him, Nemu feels the most excited she has ever been. Are we going to see some clapping or some chopping?